Hello. How are you doing? Good, good. So today I have a few things that I'm going to be showing you. I have my cup of tea that I'm going to be drinking. So it's getting cooler outside and I'm loving it. Definitely loving it. Today I have some different types of tea that I'm going to be showing you. 2 little bags and 2 boxes of tea. And then after I show you those, I'm going to be reading chapter 1 of this book. I actually haven't read this book yet, so it's going to be new to me too. And I'm pretty excited. Alright. So I'm a really big fan of tea, hot tea. I mean, I like cold tea too, but hot tea is my favorite. It's just really soothing to me. And there's just so many different kinds that you can choose from. So. The first box that I have is made by Celestial Seasonings. And it is Tension Tamer tea. It's a really good brand, really good quality, and it tastes really nice. This one is eleuthero plus mint and lemongrass. It's got a cool picture on it. I love dragons. And on the back it says, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." And that is from a Buddhist proverb. So that's really awesome. Now it says here, "Every cup an invitation. Looking for a gentle lift, a soothing way to reclaim focus, or just need to press pause for a moment? Celestial Seasonings teas are an invitation to bring the perfect balance to your day. With a wide variety of herbal, green, black, wellness, chai teas, and more, you'll always find the perfect cup for any occasion." It says here on the side, it is blended with care from seed to sip. Responsible sourcing. It says, "We purchase most of our ingredients directly from the farming communities that grow them. Quality ingredients. We blend our teas from the finest ingredients with no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives." And then it says, "Sustainable packaging. We use tea bags without strings, tags, or staples, keeping tons of material out of landfills every year." So that's awesome. I'm going to show you inside what it looks like. Sorry, that's a little loud. smells really, really good. And on the side here, on this little flap, it says Eleuthero. I think I'm saying that way wrong, sorry. Eleuthero root has been used for centuries in traditional Chinese medicine to revitalize and reinforce the qi, or the body's life-sustaining energy. And it's QI, qi, I think. So here's one of the bags. It smells really nice. Yeah. Can you hear the herbs? So the next tea that I have is also by Celestial Seasonings, and it's Sleepy Time tea. I think most of us have heard of Sleepy Time tea. Even if you don't really drink tea, most people have heard of it. And this is Sleepy Time honey. It's caffeine free, and it says here, relaxing herbs with aromatic honey flavor. Now, on the back it says, life is the flower of which lave. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me start over. Life is the flower of which love is the honey, and that is by Victor Hugo. It says, the original bedtime tea. More than 40 years ago, we created a truly soothing herbal tea to help folks wind down the day. We named it Sleepy Time tea, and it quickly became everyone's favorite bedtime tea. Today, our calming Sleepy Time blend of botanicals is available in herbal, decaf green, and wellness teas, so you can always find the perfect cup for your bedtime routine. Here's the ingredients. It says it has chamomile, spearmint, lemongrass, tilia flowers, hawthorn, natural honey flavor with other natural flavors, blackberry leaves, orange blossoms, and honey. And on the bottom it says, Sleepy Time Honey, just the right amount of honey flavor, aroma, and sweetness joins our time-honored Sleepy Time blend of chamomile, spearmint, and lemongrass to create this calming brew. Wind down your day with Sleepy Time. So let's open it up. This one's still sealed, so I'm just going to open it. Maybe. Sorry, I'm struggling a little bit. I'm gonna go grab some scissors. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Have my handy dandy scissors. Oh, and of course, then I open it. Still good. Oh, gosh. Sorry. I can already smell it. It smells incredible. My cat wants to be in the video. So here's the inside of that one. Oh, it smells so delicious. I think after my cup of tea, I'm probably gonna have this one. So, you can see all of the herbs inside of it. And it smells shaking around in there, waiting to be absorbed. The next tea that I have is, again, by Celestial Seasonings. I think all my teas are, so. And it is peppermint tea. Peppermint herbal tea. And there's not really much information about it. And what's interesting is if you look right here, it says ingredients, peppermint. That's literally the only ingredient, which I think is awesome. But it does say here on the back the instructions, so I guess I will just read those to you. It says, hot tea by the cup. Pour freshly boiled water over 1 tea bag. Steep for 4 to 6 minutes and remove the tea bag. Sweeten if desired. And then it says, iced tea by the glass. Pour 1 cup of boiling water over 2 tea bags in a heat-resistant container. Steep 4 to 6 minutes and remove the tea bags. If desired, add sweetener while tea is hot, and then add 1 cup of cold water and chill. So I'm not going to open this one up because, well, let's see. Yeah, because it's not opened yet. And I don't want it to lose its freshness, because I don't know when I'll drink this. It sounds delicious, but just not in the mood for it yet. The last one I have is already opened because I've already had a cup. Excuse me. It is called Lemon Singer Herbal Tea. Lemon Singer. Now I ripped off part of the ingredients, so I'll just read you the ones that I can still see. We have hibiscus, rose hips, roasted something, lemongrass, lemon peel and whole dried lemons, lemon flavor with other natural flavors, and ... I can't read anymore. And the instructions are the same as the other ones. It smells like herbs and lemon, which could be assumed. So that was all of the teas that I had to show you. So now, let's relax further with Chapter 1 of Halo by Alexandra, what does that say? Alexandra Adornetto, I think is how you pronounce it. So, I have not read this book yet, so I'm going to read the back just to give us both a little insight on what's ahead. I took a step forward so that I was teetering on the cliff's edge and shifted my weight to balance on the balls of my feet. The uneven rocks scraped my skin, but I hardly noticed. I felt like I was already flying, and more than anything, I wanted to feel the rush of wind in my hair again. "Cut that out, Beth. Don't move. I'm coming up to get you," I heard Xavier yell, but I wasn't listening to him anymore. As the wind whipped my clothes, I spread my arms and let myself fall from the cliff. If I had been human, my stomach might have shot up into my throat, but the drop only made my heart soar and my body buzz with exhilaration. I plummeted towards the ground, relishing the sharp sting of air against my cheeks. Xavier cried out and ran to catch me, but his efforts were futile. This was one time when I didn't need rescuing. Midway to the ground, I dropped my arms and allowed the transformation to take place. A blinding light shot from inside my body, shining from every pore and making my skin glow like white-hot metal. I saw Xavier shield his eyes and draw back. I felt my wings burst from behind my shoulder blades. They exploded through the confines of my shirt, tearing the light fabric to ribbons. Fully expanded, they cast a long shadow across the sand, as though I were some sort of majestic bird. So that sounds really interesting. Sorry. I think my cat just knocked something over. Yes, she definitely did. Okay, so Chapter 1 is called Descent. Our arrival didn't exactly go as planned. I remember it was almost dawn when we landed because the streetlights were still on. We had hoped our descent would go unnoticed, which it mainly did, save for a 13-year-old boy doing a paper round. He was on his bicycle with the newspapers rolled like batons in plastic wrap. It was misty, and the boy was wearing a hooded jacket. He seemed to be playing a mental game with himself to estimate where exactly he could get each paper to land. The newspapers hit the driveways and verandas with a thud, and the boy smiled smugly whenever he estimated right. A Jack Russell Terrier barking from behind a gate caused him to glance up and alerted him to our arrival. He looked up just in time to see a column of white light receding into the clouds, leaving 3 wraith-like strangers in the middle of the road. Despite our human form, something about us startled him. Perhaps it was our skin, which was as luminous as the moon, or our loose white traveling garments, which were in tatters from the turbulent descent. Perhaps it was the way we looked at our limbs, as though we had no idea what to do with them, or the water vapor still clinging to our hair. Whatever the reason, the boy lost his balance, swerved his bike, and crashed into the gutter. He scrambled to his feet and stood transfixed for several seconds, caught between alarm and curiosity. In unison, we reached out our hands to him in what we hoped was a gesture of reassurance. But we forgot to smile. By the time we remembered how, it was too late. As we contorted our mouths in an attempt to get it right, the boy turned on his heel and fled. Having a physical body was still foreign to us. There were so many different parts that needed to run concurrently, like a complex machine. The muscles in my face and body were stiff. My legs were trembling like a child's taking his first steps, and my eyes hadn't yet adjusted to the muted earth light. Having come from a place of dazzling light, shadows were foreign to us. Gabriel approached the bicycle with its front wheel still spinning and righted it. He propped it against the closest fence, knowing that the boy would return later to collect it. I imagine the boy bursting through the front door of his home and relating the story to his stunned parents. His mother would push the hair back from his forehead to check his temperature. His father, bleary-eyed, would comment on the mind's ability to play tricks on you when it is time to wonder. We found Byron Street and walked along its uneven sidewalk, scanning for number 15. Already our senses were being assaulted from all directions. The colors of the world were so vivid and so varied. We had come from a pure white world to a street that looked like an artist's palette. Apart from color, everything had its own different texture and shape. The wind brushed against my fingertips, and it felt so alive I wondered if I could reach out and catch it. I opened my mouth and tasted the crisp, sharp air. I could smell gasoline and burning toast mingled with pine and the sharp scent of the ocean. The worst part was the noise. The wind seemed to howl, and the sound of the sea beating against the rocks roared through my head like a stampede. I could hear everything that was happening in the street. The sound of a car ignition, a slamming screen door, a child crying, an old porch swing creaking in the wind. "You'll learn how to block it out," said Gabriel. The sound of his voice startled me. Back home, we communicated without language. Gabriel's human voice, I discovered, was low and hypnotic. "How long will it take?" I winced as the shrill cry of a seagull sounded overhead. I heard my own voice, which was as melodic as a flute. "Not long," Gabriel answered. "It's easier if you don't fight it." Byron Street rose and peaked in the middle, and there, at its highest point, stood our new home. Ivy was immediately charmed. "Oh, look," she clapped her hands in delight. "It even has a name." The house had been named after the street, and Byron was displayed in an elegant script on a copper plaque. We would later discover that the adjoining streets were named after other English Romantic poets: Keats Cove, Coleridge Street, Blake Avenue. Byron was to be both our home and our sanctuary while we were earthbound. It was a double-fronted, ivy-clad sandstone house set well back from the street behind a wrought iron fence and double gates. It had a gracious Georgian facade and a gravel path leading to its flaking front door. The front yard was dominated by a stately elm wrapped in a tangled mess of ivy. Along the side fence grew a profusion of hydrangeas, their pastel heads quivering in the morning frost. I liked the house. It looked like it had been built to weather any adversity. Bethany, hand me the key," said Gabriel. Looking after the key to the house was the only job I had been entrusted with. I felt around the deep pockets of my dress. "It's here somewhere," I assured him. "Please tell me you haven't lost it already." "We did fall out of the sky, you know," I said indignantly. "It's easy for things to go missing." Ivy laughed suddenly. "You're wearing it around your neck." I breathed a sigh of relief as I slipped off the chain and handed it to Gabriel. As we stepped into the hallway, we saw that no expense had been spared in preparing the house for our arrival. The divine agents who'd preceded us had been meticulous in their attention to detail. Everything about the house suggested light. The ceilings were lofty, the rooms airy. Off the central hallway were a music room, and to the left and a living room, to the right. Farther along, a study opened onto a paved courtyard. The rear of the house was an extension that had been modernized and was made up of an expansive marble and stainless steel kitchen that spilled into a large den with Persian rugs and plump sofas. Folding doors opened onto an extensive redwood deck. Upstairs were all the bedrooms and the main bathroom with its marble vanities and sunken bath. As we walked through the house, its timber floors creaked as if in welcome. A light, a light shower began, and the rain falling on the slate roof sounded like fingers playing a melody on a piano. Okay, so that was not the full chapter because I didn't realize that the chapter is actually extremely long. So, if I get some good feedback on this video, I will definitely make a part 2 and continue reading it. I like it already. I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this and that you're relaxed. Please leave me your feedback of whatever you have to say. Thank you for watching and having tea and stories with me.